How's it going, crypto community? This is Jade Martian bringing you a community insight, right? And in this, I'm going to create this series where I dedicate certain videos that other content creators release in that day or recently that I found to be just really, really useful insights that I don't think that I could offer equal to, right? In regards to both the way that he presents his insight and also how he is he's constructively critical and encouraging at the same time, right? So if you don't follow DM Logic, if you don't know about DM Logic, you absolutely have to go check out his channel. I'm going to be putting a link to his channel in the comments below, right? But ultimately, the point of his video is, as he says best, I'll let him say, and then we'll talk about that, right?
Check your expectations. They can ruin you. They can ruin you psychologically, emotionally. They can ruin your day. They can ruin your finances as well. That's it for today. We will talk to you soon.
And I look forward to seeing what you produce next, DM, because you always have great content. But to your points, I want to also share my side that I too was very hypey. I'm not going to lie, I may have been one of the people in DM Logic's chats that was like, come on, man, $10? You think $10 is as high as we're going? You know, back then, you know, it doesn't seem like it now because I'm saying all the time, like, oh, you know, let's be excited for $1, guys. I've checked my expectations with XRP. I'm no longer expecting the price to just moon overnight. Instead, I'm expecting to see slow and steady gains. And if those slow and steady gains begin to compound to a point where my investment begins to resemble something far exceeding my base, that's when I will be truly confident that we are in the middle of a rally. Now, I do feel that that has begun, but it still feels too early for, I think, most of us in the community to acknowledge that. And that's why I think that you are seeing the current sentiment that is moving around the community. And that sentiment is something that I actually, so one of my favorite things, you know, as somebody who, if you follow me on Twitter at Jade Martian, JAYEDMARTIAN, just a shout out there. If you follow me on Twitter, you've probably seen in my hashtags on my description that one of my favorite things is neurology, and that's kind of, I think I put psychology, I don't know if I have both, but really I'm deeply fascinated with how the mind works, and that's because I know that I have many deficits and many weaknesses, and my hope in understanding the brain would be able to find ways that I can begin to turn myself into the person that I fantasize becoming in an effective way, right? Because we all have our flaws, and I think that ultimately we should all be striving to find ways to correct those flaws as opposed to, you know, just pretend that they're a part of us. And this is actually a topic that DM also touches on in his video, so I won't go too deep into that. I'm just actually fishing for time while I try and find this photo that I'm just going to Google because I can't find it and I know exactly what to type in Google. So, excuse me, market emotions chart, see? It's like a common search for me. And there's one in particular that I really love. This guy right here. I've used it as the clip art for a price video, I believe. But here is the thing, right? So 2017, that was this hope, optimism, belief, thrill, euphoria, you know. And then at the 2017 for Bitcoin, that's when this part occurred, right? And the complacency started to set in. Well, I can tell you as somebody that hopped in around optimism in the 2017 market, right? this is when it first captured me. As somebody that hopped in around optimism, I watched all these emotions play out on a large scale. And as somebody who at that time was actively studying neuroscience and psychology, I became hyper aware of the emotions being exhibited by people in social media in regards to cryptocurrency. And so I started making it a point to pay attention to it. And at many points, I realized why this is such a hard thing for people to get their minds around, because you feel like at any time, like, oh, the market's here, we've gone through that stage, but every time you seem to fail to remember that no, you're thinking too short term. You're thinking like on a hourly chart, how are people's emotions operating? You're thinking on a daily chart, how are people's emotions operating? You're not thinking on the weekly cycle, the monthly emotional cycle, the yearly emotional cycle. And these are very real phenomenons that are studied, right? There's diseases associated with seasons, right? Seasonally aligned depression. There is a considerable portion of our population, most of whom are undiagnosed, who suffer from this disorder where if they don't get enough sunlight, which most people in the north don't, they become chronically depressed and their lives unravel before them as a result, right? I'm speaking actually from as someone who suffered from SADS, and that's why I escaped to the southern United States, where I get more sunlight down here. And I'm also, because I'm a very research-centric individual, I spend a lot of times indoors, so every little bit of sun extra that I get any day goes a long way, right? So, jokes aside, why I have this chart up here is not just to tell you about where we were, right? In November, or sorry, in July, August, that's when I panicked, and I panicked. I knew I panicked because I capitulated out of my Bitcoin. Right, I was a Bitcoin Puritan at the point of capitulation for Bitcoin, which was in August. Right, it was before it, but I saw it coming ahead of time because I was like, I've already lost faith. We're on the way up. I'm out. I'm gonna get into something that I feel more confident in. And so I was doing research on other altcoins from like April into September, and XRP was just the one that stood out as the most promising. I took the advice of, I think it might have been John McAfee or maybe Bill Gates. I don't know. Several intelligent investors and individuals in society have said that in regards to how they invest in companies, they don't invest in companies, they invest in people. They look for teams. They want to know who's doing what, how are they addressing the problems in the space. And so I followed that investment philosophy to find XRP. I was looking into all kinds of coins, and I have a little bit of money spread across a whole slew of other really smaller market caps that I won't actively promote because they're just hunches right now, right? If I start to see actual developments out of them, then maybe I'll start to talk about them at some point in the future. But for now, they're things that I'm just like watching to see, okay, is this project even legitimate, But let's get back on here. When I capitulated out of Bitcoin, I rolled over 100% out of Bitcoin into XRP. And then I watched as the market Bitcoin fell into total chaos as it crashed from 7K back to 6K, and everybody was furious, right? And then what happened? XRP got a boost, and so it gained this degree of confidence. Everybody kind of skipped the capitulation phase, I guess you could say, the anger phase with XRP. We had more of a slow burn anger, right? Because we went up to 75 cents. We saw this return back to norm, but then it just flattened out at 50. And I think that the reason why it was a slow burn is because so many Bitcoin maximalists, such as myself, hit a point of maximum pain, and we were forced to take a hard look at ourselves and say, okay, am I investing in this because I believe in it? like as a technology, or am I investing in this because I believe in it as an ideology, right? And with Bitcoin, I couldn't make that call. With XRP, it was purely based upon the technology. And so I said, well, since I can't decide with Bitcoin, but I can with XRP, it must be that Bitcoin is all ideology and not technology. And so I have to make the scientifically rational choice to transition from Bitcoin to XRP, right? So that's when I did it. And then I kind of slow simmered, like I think many of us did that were from Bitcoin, as XRP just like slowly faded down, right? And if you look, in December, XRP had its closest its closest correction to its previous low around anger, right? Like this almost looks like XRP, doesn't it? Look at this, and we're right here. We're just right here, guys. This isn't even impressive yet. Maybe like right here. And do you know what that is? What is that word? Disbelief. This is a sucker's rally, right? And where we're at right now, we're watching the price fall even, right? Disbelief. See, this rally, it's just going to fail like all the others. And I bet, me just saying that, you're like, wow, I've actually heard somebody in the community say literally just that. And they're not thinking about the emotional psychological markets calendar. They're just thinking about how they feel right now. So, anyways, I'm going to wrap this up, but I just wanted to share this insight into how the psychology of these markets work and help you understand where we really are in regards to the long term, the multi-year cycle of emotions in regards to how these long-term trends have played out, right? If you guys have enjoyed that look into the market psychology too, I know that Eric asked for me to do a in-depth breakdown of XRP's price history. So I'm probably going to do a series where I break down like individual aspects, sort of like I just did with the market emotions. But I'm going to keep kind of to like one primary point to help emphasize the overall trend to somebody if they wanted to watch through the whole series, right? Because there's just too much to really cover, anyways, this was also primarily meant as a shout out to DM Logic, but obviously I wanted to share my little addition on top of that. Please don't forget to go check out DM Logic's video. Awesome dude. Super smart. I always love hearing from him. He always has a unique flair to add to the perspective of our community. So, as always, I've been Jade Martian. If you've enjoyed my content, please hit that like, subscribe, and ring that bell if you want to hear my videos as soon as they're released. I don't know why anybody would want to do that, but hey, a lot of people seem to be appreciating my content, and I really appreciate all the encouragement and support that I've received from all of you so far. If I could shout everybody out at once, I absolutely would, but it would take a while already. So just know that I really appreciate all of your continued support, and as always, I'll see you guys on Mars. Oh no, where did my thing go? There we go. Alright, see y'all.